Hello everyone, welcome to Monday meeting. I'm Teacher Erika. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about Washington State today. So we're going to use our imaginations today during two different exercises. The first will be while we sing the Washington State song. We'll kind of use it as a meditation. We'll close our eyes and just try to picture the things that the song is talking about in our minds while we sing. And then at the end of our work together today, I'm going to read you a story, and it's from Nature's Circle, which is a Northwest Coast children's story, which are stories from indigenous tribes all around the Northwest Coast. And this one's about a ladybug. So it'll be fun to use our imaginations to imagine the pictures and what's happening in the story. All right, let's start by closing our eyes, or you can keep them open if you're more comfortable that way. And we'll sing the Washington State song. And when we do, I just want you to imagine the things that the song is talking about, right? So when it's talking about a mountain peak, you can use your mind's eye or your imagination to create a mountain peak in your mind. Let's try it together. Here we go. Washington, my home. Wherever I may roam, this is my land, my native land, Washington, my home. Our verdant forests green, caressed by silvery stream, from mountain peaks to fields of wheat, Washington, my home. There is a peace you understand in this our own beloved land. We greet the day with heads held high, and forward ever is our cry. We'll happy ever be, a people always free, a destiny for you and me, Washington, my home. Such a beautiful song, and I love using a song as a meditation is really, really nice, calming thing to do for your body. So if you have a favorite song that you really, really like, you can sing it in a calm way and kind of soothe yourself with the words and the melody, right? It's a beautiful way to sing and to learn the words to a song. So today, we looked last week at a lot of maps. Now this is kind of a map. It's the outline of the state of Washington, and here it says Washington State. And some of you at school, at Peaceful Place, have learned how to frobel pin or pin poke. So today we're going to use this to do some home pin poking. So you can just print it out just like normal on a normal sheet of paper. And then you're going to want to get a towel, a folded towel like this, and put it down first. And then you'll put your paper on top of the towel. Let's see if I can show you a little bit. And then you're just going to use a very sharp pencil. Mine happens to be white. It can be any color or a normal pencil. And I'm going to poke right along the black line. And I'm going to keep my pokes pretty close together. If I want to punch this out, I have to make my pokes really close together. But if I don't mind leaving it whole, then I'll just punch along the line pretty close together in a rhythm. Can you hear my rhythm? Poke, 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 poke. And you can keep going like this around the whole outline. And you'll see, can you see the light shining through my pokes? Yeah, and when you hang it up in the window, there you can see with the windows behind me. If you hang it up in the window after, it will be beautiful and the light will shine through. The other thing that you can also do is even poke the words, because the words are thick enough. So you can poke the state of Washington and then poke the words Washington State. Let's see how I can even poke my letters there. And then try hanging it up at a window. You can always punch out the state, but I think it's best for this one to just leave it whole. This thin paper isn't the best for punching out. So just make your pokes look nice and even, and then hang this up in the window. You could even color it first, right, before you start poking. And then poke, and then hang it up in the window, and enjoy the shape of the state of Washington, really looking sparkly and lovely in the sunlight. So that'll be fun to try. And you can pin poke anything. If you have a thick enough outline and a towel and a sharp pencil, you can poke. And remember when you're doing your pokes to hold your pencil or your whatever you're poking with. You can also use an oversized push pin as well. But sorry, my fingernails are so dirty from the garden. But you do 3-finger pinch, right? So do your 3-finger pinch and then slide your pencil right inside there. Boop. And then I can poke, poke, poke away. And it's super fun to poke, and it's super relaxing and kind of rhythmic, and a good thing to do at home. So I want to show you a few photos from Washington State. The first one that I'm going to show you is a picture of Washington State bird. And this is the American goldfinch, and it's a beautiful bird. If you ever get a chance, often you'll see the goldfinch on thistle. It loves to get the nectar from thistle, so it will sit, and the seeds I think too. It will sit on the thistle flowers, even though they're pokey, they don't hurt the goldfinch's feet, and they will enjoy the thistle flowers, and they will sing their beautiful song. Would you like to hear what they sound like? Okay, I'm gonna play a little recording of the goldfinch, and you can listen and kind of remember this sound. The next time you're in the forest, maybe you'll hear one. So that is the sound of the American goldfinch. You can listen to other bird sounds at home and memorize them. It's really nice when you get to know a lot of bird sounds, because then you can be in the woods walking along and hear a noise and you say, oh, that's the American goldfinch, or oh, that's the spotted towhee, or whatever other creatures you may learn the noises of and the calls of. It's really fun to know your animal calls, especially your bird sounds. The next photo I want to show you is the flag of Washington State, and you may have seen this before. It looks like this. It's green, and then it has the seal of Washington, and in the middle is a picture of George Washington, who is the first president of the United States, and that's who our state is named after. So there's a picture of that person there, and it says the state of Washington, or it says the seal of the state of Washington, 1889. 1889 is the year that Washington State was founded. So if you ever see this, you can know that this is the flag that represents our state. You'll definitely see the flag flying here, and it's not blowing in the wind, but it's kind of flat right there, but that is the Washington State flag. And this is a picture of the Capitol building. If you ever visit Olympia, Washington, it's our state capital, and that means it's where all of the government business is done for our state, right? So all of our representatives that represent all the people from all around the state come together here in the state capitol to make decisions and do voting and talk about things, and hopefully make decisions that are in the best interest of all the people in Washington State. And it's a beautiful building to go and see if you ever get a chance. It's in Olympia. Now, Washington State has 2 big mountain ranges. The first is the Cascade Mountains. And we learned a little bit about the biggest mountain in the Cascade Range with Teacher Brianna, and that's Mount Rainier. So Mount Rainier is part of the Cascade Range. It's a beautiful mountain range with snowy peaks, rivers, just the most beautiful landscape you could ever imagine. We're so lucky to have it here in Washington. And a lot of people know about the Cascades, but sometimes we forget there's another giant mountain range in our state, and it is called the Olympic mountain range. And here's a picture from the Olympic Mountains. There's some deer grazing on grass near the Olympic Mountains on the Olympic Peninsula. Now, the two mountain ranges, Cascade Mountains on one side and the Olympic Mountains on the other side. And right in the middle is a beautiful city. Can you guess the name? Seattle. That's right. And that's the city where we all live and work and play and go to school, right? Where all of our school friends live, in Seattle. We're very, very lucky to live here. You can learn more about Seattle and Washington State with your family as well. And ask your parents, where have I been in Washington? Are there any places in Washington that are important to our family or our family culture? Okay, now I'm going to read to you from this book. And the story we're going to read is called Ladybug's Little Spots. Ladybug's Little Spots. And sometimes in folklore, the people, before there was science, right, they used to make up stories to tell why things existed or why things were the way they were. And each story would have a lesson as well, right? And the reason that people did this was just because they wondered about things, right? But they didn't really have science to measure and find out yet. But they didn't want to be afraid of certain things. So they would make up stories about why those things existed, right? So this story, it's not going to be a true scientific story, but it will be a story that someone imagined how a ladybug got their spots. But there will be a true lesson in this story. So listen and see if you can hear the lesson. And this doesn't have many pictures, so I'll just go ahead and read and you can use your imagination. Here we go. Granddaughter sat on the porch of the house. The warm days of summer had finally arrived, and the garden was in full bloom. Flowers were stretching their arms out to catch the sunlight that flowed down from the sky. Granddaughter seemed to be by herself most of the time. She would often sit on her porch and watch the other children play games. She wanted to play too, but because she was so small, she was scared to join in. Granddaughter saw a little red insect crawling across a leaf in the garden below her. She hopped down off the porch to see what it was. It was a very small and shiny bug with little black spots that looked like eyes. Granddaughter asked, "What is your name?" The insect replied, "I am Ladybug." Granddaughter asked, "How come I've never seen you in the garden before?" "Oh, I've been here all along, but I'm very small and I usually stay under the leaves and out of sight," said Ladybug. Granddaughter said, "You're kind of like me. I've always been the smallest of all the children around here, so I like to hide too." Grandmother had come out of the house and she walked over to where the two were talking. She said to Granddaughter, "Ladybug has lived in my garden for a long time. She is usually off by herself, but she doesn't need to hide. She is small, but she has the courage of a giant." For example, one day Bird came and began to eat all the ripe vegetables in my garden. He pecked holes in my tomatoes and he gobbled down my gooseberries. I tried to shoo him away, but he just kept coming back. Ladybug was worried. If the birds ate up all the garden, then she wouldn't have a place to live. And I was worried that if Bird ate everything, then I wouldn't have any vegetables to eat. Ladybug came to the rescue. She climbed out from under the leaves on the tomato, right in front of Bird. She raised her spotted wing covers, and to Bird, it looked like the tomato had suddenly grown eyes. Bird was a bit scared because he'd never seen a tomato with eyes. Then the tomato started to talk, which really frightened him. Ladybug said, "How would you like it if I came to your house and ate all your food?" That was enough for Bird. He knew he was wrong and apologized for eating the food that was not his. He promised never to do it again and flew off to find his own food. I said to Ladybug, "Thanks for helping to save my garden. You were very brave." Grandmother said to Granddaughter, "Don't let your size keep you from playing with your friends. They will soon see that it is the little ones, like you, who often show the most courage when it is needed. The end. Did you figure out what the lesson was? Could you hear a lesson in that story? I think the lesson was that even small children and small bugs and small things can make a big difference if they're brave and they try their best, right? And I know that's true because I work with small children and I see very small children do very incredible things all the time. So I'm lucky to know that. I hope that you know that too. Even though you're small, you're mighty. And you have a lot of power in this world. And you can change the world, especially by being kind. I hope you have a great day and enjoy.